So we'll just start off with just like the testimonies. We'll do a quick testimonial so the audience can get a taste of where each one of you guys are coming from, because you guys are actually coming from completely 3 different places. We'll just start with Lacey.
I guess I grew up, my mom always told me about God, but I think when I was 10 years old, I saw Pat Robertson on 700 Club give some kind of message, and I thought I really wanted to use the phone at the time. They had a 1-800 number to call, and I thought, if I pray this prayer, I get to call and talk to somebody on the phone. I was like 10, you just want to use the phone. I don't know, it was weird. So I said the prayer, and I did that. But that same year, my cousin was beaten to death by his stepfather, and he was 3 years old, and he was like a brother to me, and I just couldn't understand how God could let that happen. So I just stopped believing in God at that point, and also got addicted to being sad, and started to meditate on sad things all the time. I would cry myself to sleep every night, and just started to hang out with people who had the same kind of sad point of view, and got into drugs and very young, and just became, as an atheist, just in more and more into depression, and hated Christians, and then at 16 I planned to commit suicide, and that same day that I was going to commit suicide, I had a miraculous encounter where it was like God did a bunch of amazing things in my life to bring me to a place where he actually showed up, and this man prayed for me and put his hand on my shoulder, and it was like I experienced the God of the universe show up in front of me, and in that moment I understood that God was love and holy, and everything I thought that was love in me was not so far from love. It was selfish and conditional. And when I recognized that, I thought, if this God that I'm standing in front of tells me to go away forever, then that's right. And I almost want to hide myself and run away anyway, because this is too perfect and pure and holy for me to be in the presence of. But at the same time, he wrapped his arms around me and said, I love you, I know you, and I've seen you cry yourself to sleep at night, and I want to make you new and heal your heart if you let me. And so the next day I woke up, and I was like, I wasn't supposed to wake up today, so okay, God, what do you want to do with me? And I just was ready to die anyway, so I just I said, well, this guy said it was Jesus, so I don't know if it's the Bible's real or not, so I just devoured the Bible and started to read the Bible, and God helped me understand it. I looked at it before, I could never understand it, but in that moment, I had one Bible I got somewhere, King James Version, when I was in vacation Bible school. I got it for some reason, and it was in the bottom of my closet, and he helped me understand it and answered so many questions, and I just continued to learn about God and find so much in there that explained to me what happened in that moment and why things were the way they were before, and how, what love really is. And so that's why I'm alive.
Hey, I want to add one thing, because you said that when you had that encounter with God and you felt that love and that presence, and that's when the Holy Spirit falls upon you. And that's because a lot of people that never had that encounter, or maybe even if you're not a Christian, you're like, these guys are talking crazy, like a bunch of weirdos, right?
That's what I would have said.
Yeah, well, you're an atheist, and
yeah.
That's what you used to hate Christians. You used to go around to make their life miserable and
yes.
fight them, and
yes.
That's your story.
Yeah, I tried to make them see how dumb it was to be a Christian, that they were really masochistic and not denying themselves pleasure, and it just seemed so stupid, and that was my favorite thing to do, was you're a Christian? Okay, well, let me ask you a question. It was really rude, horrible, hateful person I was. So, yeah.
When you do have that encounter, though, in order to have that encounter, you got to open your heart, like we did earlier when I challenged people just to open their heart and let God work. Because once you come to him fully committed to God, then you're opening your heart for God to come in and work.
Right.
But if you're constantly in doubt and pushing him away, he can't work. You know,
Right.
when we follow God, we step out by blind faith.
Yeah.
We don't understand. We don't get it because it's supernatural.
Right.
But once you put yourself in that situation, you open up. That's where God falls on you. I remember the first time that the Holy Spirit fell on me. I was like, why do I feel this love, and why am I crying, and what is going on right now? But I just felt this love and this presence, and you know, we don't, as Christians, we aren't living our life after feeling. You know, we're not living our life after feeling. But when I felt it, I was like, wow, I had an encounter. This is crazy.
Yeah.
But it's once you open your heart to God, that's where He can move in.
It's definitely something you have to experience for yourself, and it's hard to explain if you haven't experienced it. But what's so great about God is that He's no respecter of persons, and we're all created by Him, and His yearning and longing with all of God's heart is to connect with us in that way. So everyone has that freedom to connect with God if they would be willing to.
And that's what that connection is, when we are going through those hard times in our life, when we feel like we
Right.
can't take it anymore. That's who we go to, and we have that relationship, and He gets us through those storms. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. You know.
Yeah, well, I did have that. I was prideful. Like when the pastor gave the altar call at the church I was at, I wouldn't go up because my pride wouldn't let me go. And even when the man asked me to pray with me, I had a decision to make. I could have said, no, I'm not going to stay here. But I was so broken, and something in me just decided, yeah, I guess you can try to pray for me. I don't know if I really believe in God, but okay. And there was something I had to humble in myself to say, okay. So it is a decision you have to make, and a willingness you have to be open for that. Yeah.
But even though you were hard, you still you went that step forward to say, well, I don't know if I believe in God. You know, some of you guys here tonight, maybe you don't believe in God, but you got to make that step and say,
yeah,
all right, I'm going to try this. I'm going to see.
And that's kind of what it was.
You have to step by faith. That's a step out by faith, you know. Cool.